So I had quite a few library books to return this day. I'm always taking out far more library books than I can actually read. You know, it's better than buying the books, right? My plan was to just keep Morningstar in the classes of New York, but you'll see that doesn't really happen. So I took my journaling supplies too, my super tips, both of my journals, because I wanted to do a November spread, which I did end up doing. Got my pens, and we were out to the car. Almost forgot the AirPods in the water. This Fall Out Boy album photo comes with my car is so funny. And then off to the library where they have this cute little cow. I went to a library across a few towns over because this one's really nice. It's very bougie, as you might be able to deduce on your own. This return slot is already so cool. That's what I ended up keeping. Also kept Phantom of the Opera and To the Lighthouse. Just checked out their new fiction section. Last time I was there, I was able to get Intermezzo. Didn't end up reading it, so maybe next time. Then I went in search of Pierce Brown. Pierce Brown, the man that you are. We love Pierce Brown. So I came to the library for Iron Gold, but I just had to look at the other Red Risings because they're so nice. Does anybody know who this author is, Elizabeth Bear? Because these covers are so nice, and this is a nice long series, so I was curious. Also, Promise of Fire, that's the book that got me back into reading, and I found this old cover, I guess self-published cover, that was really funny. I thought about checking this out. I held on to it for the rest of the night at the library. It looks really cool, but I'm just not much of a graphic novel person, I'm realizing. I did the same thing with this. I thought this one looked really cool too. Very cool drawing style, but it was a little scary for me. It was a horror graphic novel, so I ended up putting that back as well. Yeah, very nice library. Fishes and tanks. Then I got this little table to myself. It was pretty empty because I went before closing time. Here's the haul. Books that I didn't even end up checking out. I only took to Iron Gold home, which I haven't even finished book 3, Morningstar, but I didn't want to have to wait to start Iron Gold. So this is the outline of the spread that I have and some stickers I got from @Fifi Puffs. They're really cute, and she gave me a couple free ones on Etsy. So here's what a couple of my previous spreads have looked like. I haven't really done one since March. So I have a little bit of an outline. Here's the color palette and the stickers that I'm using for my November spread, and here's how it came out. I really like it. I was a little unhappy with it at the time, but I now looking back, I do think it came out pretty cute. So yeah, I take a lot of inspiration from Katie's reading, so might feel familiar to her journal setups. Then I logged onto the computers 10 minutes before they closed because I wanted to print out some Red Rising fan art so I could make a little bit of a Red Rising, Golden Sun, Morningstar tribute page. So here's what I ended up printing out literally 5 minutes before they closed. The librarian had to help me because the printer shut off. But the art is just so cool and I'm obsessed with it. I listened to some Mayday Parade. Also, the stock photos, so funny for them too. And the black dog. So then I went babysitting the next morning. That's my daytime job before school. Hello? Me and the baby were going on a walk, so I had to put on the baby carrier, and we went outside. It was pretty nice today. We always take a walk and go visit our neighbors, and I take Chloe with me, of course. Then I went back to school. I had one class that I needed to go to. Saw this little robot man. They've got stuff like that all over the place. Just kind of chilled outside of the room for a little bit. I was a little early. And then I was done. And I got to leave and walk out in the beautiful, gloomy weather. They put up these Christmas lights, or just fairy lights around, and some decorations as it's getting colder. And this one tree lost his hat, so had to make that right, of course. Seems like an essential worker. Then I just walked over to a shuttle stop so I could wait for a shuttle to take me home. I usually drive to campus, but today I decided to walk a little bit and take the bus. And when I got home, I ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So you already saw me checking out some books from the library, but I kind of wanted to talk about them anyways because I've made some progress in some of them, not all. So first we have The Colossus of New York. I read The Intuitionist by Colson Whitehead last month in October, and I didn't love that book, but I said that I was going to try his nonfiction work, and The Colossus of New York is what I ended up picking up. I am 61 pages through it right now. It's a collection of 13 vignettes, and I have read 5 of them so far, and I'm really liking it. I just like this book a lot. I grew up in Long Island, and my grandmas both lived in Brooklyn, so I've spent quite a bit of time in the city, and I just really like the feelings that this is making me feel. It's like one of the chapters is about Port Authority and like taking a bus into the city, and it's just like capturing the feeling of being there in, you know, like in the bus in Port Authority in New York really, really well. I did see a Goodreads comment that said that they were disappointed by this book because it felt like it could be said about any city. Like, it's not specific enough to New York, but you could say this about like any major city, like Chicago. For me, it does feel very specific, and it's kind of just like making this feeling of nostalgia that I really like. So I'm really loving this book, and I will definitely be finishing it before the end of this month. Next is Phantom of the Opera. I haven't made much progress in this. I've only read the first chapter, but I was impressed by that. I love the musical. I saw that on Broadway a few years ago now, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, and I just love the music. I listen to the soundtrack all the time. I have seen the movie, I think. I can't really remember. I might have only seen like clips from the movie and like music videos of it. But Emma from the channel Emmy talks about this book kind of frequently. She doesn't so much anymore, but she used to in her older videos. But this is like one of her all-time favorite books, and the language was surprisingly easy, maybe because it's a translation. It's by Gaston Leroux. I always find that translated classics are a little bit easier to read than English written ones. But the beginning chapter was very easy to read, very good. Not the vibe that I was expecting. It's told in an interesting way, and I really can't say a whole lot because I'm not very far in. I like that it also has chapter title names. I like when books do that. So yeah, very excited to keep reading this. I don't know if that will happen this month because I've been so obsessed with Red Rising that I don't know how much of this I will get to, because this is like its own big commitment. The Colossus of New York feels very realistic because I can read a vignette in like half an hour and I just pick it up when I feel like it, and there's only 13 of them. You know, I'm already like halfway through that, so it's not going to take a lot of time to get through the rest of that book. But this is like, I think I need to put Red Rising down in order to be able to sink into another full-length novel like this, especially a classic. So who knows what will happen with this. I just couldn't part with it. And I also love this cover and this little like mass market paperback size. Yeah, it's just very nice. Kind of a similar situation with To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. I read the first page, so not much at all. I read the first page of this in the library because I saw it on display, and I've always wanted to read Virginia Woolf. I just haven't gotten around to her yet, and I really liked the first page. I think I'm into stories that take place on the water. I haven't read many stories that take place on the water, but when I read Persuasion last month, there was a portion, I want to say like a third of the book took place on the water, maybe a quarter. That's probably a quarter. And I was really into those sections where they went off to the seaside and they were just like gallivanting around the beaches and enjoying the salty air. That was just fun for me. I liked reading about it. So I just thought maybe I would like this, and I really do think I will. Also, another one that I have no idea if I'm going to be able to give my attention to something besides Red Rising right now. But if I am tired of it, which I don't see happening, or if I just finish the series this month, which is a real possibility. It's a long series, but I'm already, I think, halfway through it. So if that happens, then maybe this will be read in November. And then, who's surprised? Who wants to hear about this anymore? I talk about it constantly. Morning Star. This is the third book in the Red Rising trilogy. I am 317 pages through. Also, actually, I have this holographic Pokemon bookmark. Oh gosh. Oh, you see it? Isn't that sick? I want to say this was like a McDonald's toy, but maybe it was like my brother got it from something, but I have no idea. but this has been around for well over a decade in my household. I'm 317 pages out of this. This is like a 500-page book, but that will fly by absolutely because I'm just obsessed. This is book 3, and that's why I went to the library so I could get book 4, Iron Gold, because after I finished book 2, Golden Sun, I immediately wanted to start book 3, Morning Star, but I had to wait because I finished it in the middle of the night and I had to wait till the next day so I could go get it from the library. So I was reading the sample available on Libby for a while because it also was not available to check out. I had to put in a hold for it. So I didn't want to be in that situation again. So I made sure to get Iron Gold a little bit early so that as soon as I finish that, I can start on this. It's just a chonker of a book. I'm very nervous because it's called the Red Rising Trilogy, yet there are like 6 books or 5 books. So it makes me nervous that like this one is called a Red Rising novel from book 4 on. So I'm just like, is our main character going to die or something in the trilogy? Like, is that why it's called a trilogy and then there's other books after it? So I'm very scared, but I guess we'll see. And the last thing I have to talk about is the audiobook I'm listening to right now, which I'm gonna expose myself. It is a monster romance. What is a monster romance, Bianca? You might be asking. Yes, I would love to explain. Thank you. It's exactly what you think. I was scrolling on Libby in a parking lot a few days ago because I was listening to Morning Star play on audio while I was driving, and it's a dense book. There's a lot of things going on, and sometimes I don't have the mental capacity to just listen and be able to take things in. Like, a lot of the times when I'm reading Red Rising or just like books that take a little bit more effort, I'm listening and I'm also reading along at the same time. I really love reading like that. But sometimes I can listen and drive or whatever. Sometimes I can't. So I was like, okay, let me get like a little bit of a lighter book, something I can just listen to in the car for those times when I can't really take things in. So at first I checked out Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, which is why I had that earlier in the vlog, and I returned it because it was just as complicated. I don't know why. I thought that that would be a good replacement. My first Brandon Sanderson novel on audio. Yeah, that was not a good idea. It was good. I do think that I will read that book at some point, but not just listening to it on audio. So returned that after listening to like 3 chapters of it, and was scrolling through Libby and I saw this picture. And I scrolled right past it and I said, hold on, what the heck was that? And I clicked on it and I read the description and I was like, you're joking. You're actually joking. And I started listening to it and it was kind of good. It's just like a silly, goofy time. I found this really great video of a reader of this author's books kind of detailing the universe a little bit. Think Crescent City. If you like Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas, it's like that. It's a lot like that, actually. And I think that's why I love it. The concept, crazy, bonkers. Still kind of a little bit haunting to me right now as I'm like 70% through it. But it is just like, it's a fun time. It's such an easy listen. I just put it on when I'm like walking places or driving places. I know, also crazy to be listening to that book in public. I know. I was listening to it on the bus earlier in this vlog. It's better written than a lot of other romance books that I find in Barnes & Noble. And I'm probably going to read other books by this author because it was just so silly and goofy and very spicy, but still very sweet, like surprisingly extremely wholesome. I'm not finished with it, but I will be soon. Like, I have like 2 hours left in the audiobook. Like, I might finish it tonight because the couple just like hit an important point in the relationship, and I'm just like, oh, I need to know everything. Tell me everything. Morning Glory's Milking Farm is about a girl named Violet who is a millennial, overeducated, underemployed, and she's looking for a job. So she sees an ad for this farm and she applies and gets the job. And the job of this farm is to collect minotaur extract for human testosterone supplements. So she starts working at this pharmaceutical company and she meets a minotaur there, and obviously they have some sort of relationship. My favorite part of this book is the town. It's like small town setting, but filled with magical creatures. Her best friend's a vampire. There are so many different types of creatures, and I love seeing them and like having them interact with each other, like at the grocery store and at coffee shops. Like I said, surprisingly wholesome and just like cutesy outside of like the super spicy parts. And the spicy parts are surprisingly well written, a lot better written than other books, like I said, that I have seen on TikTok, in Barnes & Noble. It exceeded my expectations, and I know I'm most likely going to read some more books in this series. Book 2 takes place in the same small town, and it's about a Mothman. I know there's also a book about a werewolf. There's one about a humanoid spider person man, and I'm also kind of interested to read that too. So that's the audiobook I'm listening to. And I think that's everything. So thanks for watching the video so far. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.